Real Big Fish. It's kind of like Spinal Tap back here. We're looking for the deli tray. Oh, there's Mike.
It's
okay.
very true. What am I going to do with this bread? This little bread. What am I going to do with it?
Keep folding it. Hello, Cleveland.
Oh yeah, that movie is our life.
I mean, can you watch it enough? I mean, it's fresh every time. Even if you've seen it 1,800 times, you still laugh.
Absolutely. Those guys were so on point, and
it was like improv too. They just had a camera and just started fucking around.
Yeah, you don't know whether to laugh or cry sometimes. Sometimes
there's a lot of metal bands that took it real serious. They're like, I hate that movie.
Yeah, I'm married to a Greek, and so I saw My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yeah.
And before I got married, I thought it was funny, and then I went to Greece, and then it wasn't funny anymore. It was more sad. It's more crying, like Spinal Tap.
I know. You got to have fun. I know you guys have a ton of fun.
Absolutely.
You know, talk about joining the band. You know, what was it about this group that spoke to you, and you know, what inspires you to keep it going?
You know, I met Aaron because of our bass player, Derek Gibbs. Derek played in a band called Jeffrey's Fan Club, and while I was going to university, I was going to CSUN up in the valley.
Yeah, Northridge.
And I was coming back on the weekends, and Derek knocked on my door and went, "Hey, I'm playing in this band. You want to come?" And our trumpet player quit to become a Jehovah's Witness. It's bad life advice. Don't quit to become a Jehovah's Witness. And so I said, sure, you know, I'll do it. So we rehearsed on Sunday, and the show was on Friday. And I didn't even know that I was going to play in the show. I just came to rehearse and made a recording. I'm prepared. I'm a professional. And that day we took pictures for the OC Weekly, and the band was called The Forces of Evil, and it was with Aaron and Derek, our old drummer Justin Ferreira, Chris Colonier, and Johnny Throop from Jeffrey's Fan Club, and Jay Lafayette. And I started playing with that band, and then Real Big Fish started having difficulties with Tyler Jones, unfortunately. And Tyler was going through a hard time, and so he kind of melted down, and they asked me to come and play. And so I've been in the band for 11 years now.
Wow.
It's a quarter of my life that I've been in this band, which is crazy.
And I know it's taken you to all sorts of different places. What are some of the amazing places that you've been?
We just got back from Japan and Australia with Less Than Jake. You know, we've been to Russia, we've been to Slovenia, we've been all over Europe, South America. You know, the one thing about traveling is you find out that all people are the same. They just want to have a good time. They want to take care of their families. I think
you forget where you are in the middle of the show.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I tell everybody that you can take one audience from anywhere in the world and stick them in another city, and you wouldn't know the difference.
Yeah. Before or after the show, there may be some weird languages and weird food, but
yeah.
When it's time to rock, man, everybody's got the fists in the air and
absolutely. Everybody wants to have a good time, and so I hope that's what we do in Real Big Fish is bring the party to you.
No doubt. Well, we got the first inaugural It's Not Dead Yet festival, and we got a lot of classic bands here. When you heard about this show and saw the lineup, what were you thinking?
Oh, I thought it was amazing. I mean, to get to come out here and to see Bad Religion or get to see NoFX, I mean, that's awesome. I've always wanted to play with those guys. And unfortunately, we've never been on the same bill. We just played with Social D about a month ago with Anti-Flag.
Okay.
And it's a pleasure to get to see old friends and to see bands that we haven't seen before. It'll be fun to see Pennywise.
Yeah.
So it's a dream come true.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Warped Tour reunion party or something. All the bands coming back.
Yeah, but it's just one day, so everybody's not going to be burnt. It'll be nice.
Exactly. And we can hang out in the shade until it's time to rock. And
absolutely.
You know, what time is your set?
It's at 3:40.
Okay. Well, when you go to a Slovenia or a Russia, what is your assumptions versus reality? When you get there, how is it different, and how is it like, wow, this is a bit different here?
Yeah, sometimes you think that people in certain countries may be more stoic or I guess not quite as happy, and it turns out that they really are good.
Maybe the military is a little stoic. But
Yeah. The kids are all the same. They are all crazy. They all want to have
a lot of alcohol going down.
Yeah, Slovenia, when we played the festival, they had a little tiny step in front of the stage, and so the kids would jump onto that step and then dance and then jump off back into the crowd. So that was the first time that there was a dancing platform.
Like a little diving board.
Yeah. It was totally awesome.
It's incredible. Now, when you go to a Russia or anything, what's the food like? What's the biggest culture shock?
Oh, it's definitely not the food. Usually it's the way people drive.
Okay.
Not saying that the Los Angeles drivers are the best. It's horrible. Our traffic is terrible.
Yeah.
But in some countries like Dubai, we played in Dubai with Megadeth, which was totally awesome, by the way. They can't drive. It's chaos. Like you would expect driving to be orderly.
Forget about the lanes,
Yeah.
the right-of-way.
Yeah, forget about being polite. There is no polite while driving.
It's like a free-for-all.
It
Whoever's
is.
got the biggest car and hitting the most gas.
Yeah, get out of my way. So
No, I saw that in Rome. It's just like a free-for-all where you come to these big roundabouts, and people are just going everywhere.
yeah.
You
It's,
got these little taxis zipping in and out.
absolutely.
Playing with Megadeth. Tell us about that in Dubai.
So we got thrown onto the bill from our agent, a band called Saxon, this old 80s metal band.
Yeah.
I guess they had a song that was about the Crusades, and so Dubai being an Islamic country, they didn't want.
They censored them.
They censored him, and they wouldn't let him play, so we got thrown on the bill. So the bill was Real Big Fish, Testament, Three Doors Down, and Megadeth.
Wow.
And so we did a press conference with all the bands.
Can't imagine that show in America.
Oh, it would be totally awesome. It was so great. I was sitting at the table at this press conference next to our old bass player, Matt Wong, and I'm just talking, and then this red-haired guy comes up and goes, "Hi, my name's Dave," and I was a huge Madness and Specials fan, and it was Dave Mustaine.
Whoa.
And it blew me away. I was like, Dave Mustaine was a ska kid. And so we wound up hanging out the whole time with Dave Mustaine, Real Big Fish and Dave Mustaine. He was a sweetheart, a true gentleman, and it was right after the Some Kind of Monster thing came out. And so he talked to us about that interview while we're at this Bedouin camp with a barbecue and everything and a camel, and he comes down and sits on our carpet and starts talking about that interview while we're all smoking hookahs and stuff. And it was phenomenal.
Surreal.
It was like one of the highlights of my life, like
Right.
getting to talk to one of my
It's like Yoda,
idols.
man, talking about the metal and the madness.
Oh
Can you
yeah,
believe it?
absolutely. And he's had such a torrid life, but still gone on and made great music. And
Well, again, he's sober and he can talk about those crazy experiences.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
for all the kids out there that think it's a big party and you can just do drugs and drink all day and night, tell them about the kind of commitment it takes to be a traveling band.
so I'm a trumpet player, and I have to practice. When I'm at home, I have to practice 4 hours a day to feel comfortable. When I'm out on the road, I'll still practice 2 to 3 hours every day so I can do my job. And I can't drink all night and feel comfortable the next day. You can't be hungover. And so a lot of it is taking care of yourself. And yes, I do drink. I like whiskey and I love craft beer. But
There's a time to celebrate.
absolutely. So I only drink after the show and in moderation so I can function the next day, because the most important thing is the show that we play. And if
We're
we're,
changing time zones and all that.
it's rough. Traveling is really difficult. We always say that we get paid to travel and then the shows are free, because that's the hard part is not getting sleep, playing until 2 o'clock, waking up at 5 to be to the airport by 6 to catch the 8 o'clock plane.
Yeah.
It's
Well, that's it. There's a lot of waiting around for the flight, waiting around for the taxi or all that, waiting for the gig.
yeah, and you can, if you don't find constructive things to do with that time, you can get in a lot of trouble. So instead of going out and doing lines of cocaine, go and practice your guitar, practice your bass, practice your saxophone. It's a better use of that time.
Because like you say, those kids have been saving up all year for that ticket.
Oh, yeah.
They're coming to your show. Some of them are, third world countries or impoverished.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they expect the show.
Yeah.
They don't want to see you hungover and leaning on the amp to stand up.
Absolutely. And, it's been a real honor to have people come up to us and say, this song or this record got me through this hard portion of my life. And so it's my commitment, I'm going to play the best show that I possibly can for you guys, because we mean so much. It's such a privilege that we can make a difference in the world, no matter how small I mean, that's what you want to do as a human being, make a difference.
That's great. Any other advice you have to the young bands coming up? Again, a lot of them think it's about the fame, it's about the riches, and they think it's easy. Not to discourage anybody, but give them the reality check as far as the sacrifice and commitment it takes, not only to be a traveling band, but to be a unique band to stand out and really find a crowd.
Yeah, that's the hard thing now, is it's easier to get your music to people, but it's harder to market yourself and distinguish yourself from everybody. So you got to find a way to do that. Fortunately for us, as Aaron would always say, you got to write hit songs. You got to write songs that are catchy, that people can remember. It really matters, and work at it. It's really hard. You know, I'm gone 6 to 8 months out of my life, and I still have a family. I have a wife and I have a daughter that I have to take care of. It's really rough that you have to stay in contact with and still try to be in love and still try to be a father. It's really, really rough, and that you don't always make money. I mean, that's
you got to really want it, and you got to love what you do, because you might not be getting paid for a while.
Yeah. That's how it is right now with us.
If you don't enjoy it for the fun of it, you're doing it for the money, you're going to quit real quick.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you have to save all the money that you can. If you do blow up and you wind up getting big paychecks, don't blow it all. Save it, put it in the bank.
Don't buy that $100,000 gold chain.
Yeah, exactly. Do not buy a Ferrari unless you're Billy Joel. Then Billy Joel can buy it.
It's going to sit and rust in the driveway while you're on tour for the next year.
Yeah, exactly. While you're on tour for the next 10 years.
Yeah. It's amazing, the life stories. You would think these people had watched a few behind the musics or heard a few stories and learned how to pace themselves, because just like in a marathon, you can't sprint from the gate, you know?
Yeah, man.
You gotta pace yourself.
You definitely have to take care of yourself. That's a big thing, and not everybody is good at that. And so that's something you have to learn when you go on the road, is to take care of yourself and not go too hard, not drink yourself into a stupor every day. It's really easy, but don't do it.
The party is when you're on stage, and the next party's waiting for you in the other city.
Yeah.
And they don't want to hear about what you did last night after the show. They want to know that you're bringing 100%.
Absolutely. Nobody cares if you have bronchitis. That's the hardest thing to do, is to play when you're sick.
Yeah.
And it happens because you want to go home and you want to lay down and you don't want to play, but you have to. You play whether you're sick. I've missed one show. Aside from when my daughter was born, and I missed a few because I was having a baby. My wife was having a baby.
And this one show, what, you had the flu, or what was it?
I had bronchitis. They took me to the hospital. It was when the swine flu was going around, and they gave me a breathing treatment. And I still kicked myself in the ass for not playing that show, even though I could barely move.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
Felt bad.
Yeah, I felt bad. I couldn't sing, couldn't talk, and so that was
the show went on, one less horn.
The show went on, one less horn, and unfortunately, I feel like I let those guys down.
Yeah.
But there was only one, and it won't happen again.
Well, that's important. Well, we thank you so much for your time. We know this festival is going to be a lot of fun today. We can't wait for real big fish to hit the stage.
Thank you so much.
It's time to defend. I know I have no friends. I've got to get there first. This work has come to worse. Except for you guys. You guys are not assholes. You guys are cool.